I'm Andy Ditchfield and welcome to Early Doors, a series of short videos designed to give you something to mull over as you start your weekend. Today I'm going to look at custom formatting, looking at number formats, date formats and a few other miscellaneous ones. There's a bunch of pre-loaded formats which Excel uses on the Home tab, and you can see them on here in the number section. There's a drop-down list starting with general, dates, etc. And then you've got this thing at the bottom, more number formats, which opens up the format cells dialog box. I don't particularly like a lot of those formats, and therefore I set up my own. Now it may seem a little bit of a faff in doing that, but once you've set them up, I'll show you next time how you can use this as your default standard and therefore use it on any workbook that you've already got. Okay, so starting with number formats, the syntax for formatting cells, it has four distinct parts. So it looks at positive numbers, negative numbers, zeros, and what to do with text. So the top three are going to be based around a similar pattern. The quick key is Control+1, and that brings up the format cells dialog box. And what I want to do is down at the bottom create a custom format. Now the one nearest to where I want to get to is this one here. So if I just click on this, what it does, it puts the commas in, which I like, makes them red, which I like, but it leaves zeros as a zero, which I want to change. So the way to change that is back to Control+F1. We change it in this type list here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a space after my positives, and what that is going to do is it lines up the figures below my parentheses. So I'm going to put my negatives in parentheses and then a semicolon again to get the third element, which is zeros, and I'm going to replace that with a dash. Again, a space just for lining up purposes. And then the final thing is I want to say if someone inputs a text value when it should be a number, I want to tell them that's incorrect. So I'm just going to say input value exclamation mark, and I put that in inverted commas, then it will appear. Pressing OK, what we see now is, yep, like that. Now negatives are in brackets. We've got a dash for that. For thousands, however, I want to make it slightly different. So I'll bring the dialog box up again. What you do now, if you want to put thousands in, is all I want to do is to change the way that the value appears. So in the formula bar you can still see that the number is exactly the same, so that's how it's held. It's purely how it's displayed. So you don't have to mess about dividing by 1,000, timesing by 1,000, etc, etc. In fact, I'm actually going to copy that down. So millions, I'm going to format that, again, Control+1, and now if I put another comma, it will divide by a million. So to put a decimal place, 0.0, and again on the negative, 0.0. Okay, so now that gives me 123.5 minus 123.5. Now looking at percentages, I can do a similar thing again part. So I want to change that. I only want one decimal place. I'll put a space in, semicolon for the negatives, square brackets for red, brackets 0.0%, close bracket, semicolon, and again I'm just going to put a dash rather than put the percentages in. Click OK, and there we have it. Turn our attention now to dates. The default is how Excel stores a date normally. So on the short, I just want month and year, and 3 gives a Jan, which is what I want. Then a dash, and then I want the year. Okay, second one I want a little bit more. So I want the date, the month, and the full year, so that's 4 Ys. What I want here is if I put 4 Ds in, you get the full Thursday, and I'm going to put a comma, space, another M will give you January, space, then the day again, comma, space, and then the full year. And again, there's my sample. That's a bit too long for the cell, so just open it up there. The final one, the first letter of the month. And to get that, it's actually M, and the final one, so it's just J. That's often used in charts where you're limited on space, so you just have J, F, M, A, M, etc. The final section are a few other miscellaneous items that I use in Excel files. Same process. I want to keep them as numbers, but I don't want them to appear as numbers because I want to be able to use them in formula. So in the first one, custom, all I'm going to say here is I only want positives, and just in inverted commas I'm just going to write days. I'll just fast forward this rather than watch it because it gets rather repetitive, but what I'm doing is basically putting the words either before or after the number, so it gives a slightly different effect. Obviously these are my defaults, you can form your own. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Please click the thumbs up beneath the video if you've enjoyed it, and feel free to leave me a comment. My contact details will appear when the beer is poured. Cheers.